one of the biggest lies and manipulative thought forms is the idea that it is too late, because it's not. Spirit is coming through with a big message telling you there is a ton of time to make something happen, to envision a new future, or to even recall something back into your life. Maybe this is an aspect of you, a dream, a hope you had. Could be a reconciliation for some of you. The card reconciliations did come through. For some of you, it is about reconciling some kind of relationship. But for all of you, regardless of whether that's true for you or not, for all of you, it's about reconciling this energy that it's kind of like not apathy exactly, but it's this idea of, well, I guess that's it. It is what it is. Or it's not exactly that. It's this feeling of a point of no return. And Spirit saying, no, everything is still on the table. Everything is still possible. Every step you've made, every move you've made, every emotion you felt, every tear you cried, every laugh that came from your soul has all been intentional and purposeful. And it feels like Spirit is saying all of your past and the things that you've chosen to do, or maybe you feel you haven't chosen even to do these things, they're not determining what's possible next. Our pasts really tell us a lot about the world and about different people and even about ourselves. But we don't have to let it determine our future. We can break cycles, break patterns. We can recognize things that have been kind of playing out that we don't want to play out anymore. And we can shift and we can change. So something is still possible. And for some of you, this is something very specific you're thinking of. You had a dream, a hope, a vision, right? For others of you, it's this like point you've gotten to in your life where you're just kind of feeling like there's no more big adventures for me. And Spirit's saying, no, that's not true. That's just a narrative. That's just a thought. A cruel one that you've been telling yourself or that somebody told you. Some of you are looking at your families and maybe your parents or grandparents, and you're asking yourself, like, am I just repeating things? For some of you, not all of you. Or you will start to question that. And that realization, revelation, or even awareness, consciousness of repeating patterns. I'm seeing the Magician's card here, or the Magician's card, the Magician card. What is the Magician's card? I'm seeing the Ace of Swords now. It's that recognition of patterns allows you to change the energy, the consciousness of that. Okay, so I got this beautiful message here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Imperfections are bursts of breakthrough energy, breaking through dogma, expectation, and imposed cruelty. The idea that you need to be perfect, that it needs to be perfect, is imposing cruelty on yourself or on a situation. And when we strive for some kind of perfection, or we have this perfect vision that we hold in our mind of the future and it doesn't actually play out and never comes to happen, I mean, we rob ourselves of all those unexpected breakthrough bursts of energy that we, in the moment, think are imperfect. We think they're mistakes. We think we're not good enough. We think the relationship has failed, whatever it is, right? It could be different for each of you. It's not perfect. But when we think like that, we're closing off so much potential for something new to happen. So for those of you who resonate with being a little bit of a perfectionist, or you've been very focused on something having to look and be and feel a certain way, Spirit is saying release yourself from that pressure. Because it is a repetition of some kind of pattern, a karmic pattern. And it is a lie too, along with the idea that it is too late. It's a lie that you have to be perfect. What is perfect? Who decides that? Now, I got another vision. This was yesterday, but I came in here and I wrote it down. And that was a vision of a ship. And the idea was, and we had a reading called this, Sink or Swim. I don't know if it was for a sign or a collective reading, but I'll link it in the little box that comes up here and in the comments too, if you want to go check it out. And even if it's a sign reading and it's not your sign, but you still feel called to this vision, this metaphor, then you might want to still check it out. So the question came through, sink or swim, this boat, this ship that I saw. For some of you, it is time to jump ship. Because the ship's going down. And you got to save yourself. And it's scary because you're jumping off that ship and maybe you're jumping into the big wide open ocean. Who knows what's underneath the surface, underneath the water, right? That's scary. But you know how to swim. And you might be surprised that you'll come across the shore or some new land quicker than you think once you jump ship. For others of you, the ship has hit a rough patch in the ocean, and the water has come up on the deck, and it feels like the ship is going down, but it's not. You just need to steer it in the new direction. So if you're not sure which one resonates with you, or you feel like you're at a crossroads with those two ideas, do I jump ship or do I try to hold on and steer this in a new direction? Then the advice that's coming through is to meditate on that image of a ship and see what comes first. Is it sinking, or are you trying to steer it somewhere else? And how does that feel? Because the answer is there in that vision for those that part is resonating for. And this also has something to do with Uranus energy. Okay? So the cards that came through, Transpersonals, Watchers, which is the last card that came through in the last collective reading. And this card talks about taking a stand back from a current situation, a moment, I'm hearing a current moment, and getting an objective viewpoint of what's going on. So kind of watching yourself, watching your own emotions, watching your own responses, watching what's triggering you, or what's making you feel apathetic, or, you know, what's going on. Try to stand outside of yourself as like your higher self and like watch the whole interaction unfold. It's a very powerful practice. And it is a very calming practice that helps dull emotional reactions when you're able to just step outside. Like somebody says something to you, it pisses you off, you feel pissed off, and immediately go, oh, interesting. What they said is making me feel a certain way. Why might that be? Is it something about those thing they said, how they said it, who they are? Are they hitting on something that I feel sensitive about? You know, like when you start asking questions like that in the moment, it really helps with your conscious awareness of what is going on energetically. Also, if you are having a conversation or a situation with somebody else, observe what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're saying it. Pay attention without allowing yourself to get swept up in the emotion of it all. Because when we step outside like that, we can really see things clearly. You know that saying, it's easier to see from the outside. And Spirit's saying you can do that and you should do that. And maybe that's kind of like that meditation of the ship. It's It's kind of going outside of the situation, taking yourself off the ship for a second and watching the whole drama, the whole play unfold. And you'll be able to see from that higher perspective what direction is good for you. The other cards that came through are reconciliations and opportunity. So, I mean, that's pretty obvious. There's an opportunity for a reconciliation. Now, it could be a reconciliation with something that you thought it was too late for, and now the energy is being reconciled. And in the last collective reading, we had the theme of recalibration, and reconciliation isn't that far off, but the idea of reconciliation kind of gets to that emotional state more than the concept of recalibration. Like when we say recalibration, it's more kind of technical. I'm seeing Aquarius here. It's kind of technical. It's energetic. It's a little bit more detached from any given situation. But reconciliation brings up a whole host of different associations and ideas and perhaps emotions. And that may be something you want to watch. How does that idea of reconciliation sit with you? Reconciling what exactly? Whatever it is, the opportunity's here. It's not too late. We have the number 60, 59, and 4. Which, yeah, okay, so we'll leave that there. I'm going to get one more of these cards. And then we'll get into the energy supporting you, the energies challenging you, and the tarot. This card? No. Well, Spirit gave us 3 more cards. Okay. Number 44, perfect storm, the courage to step into life. Yeah, that's that idea of scrapping perfectionism and embracing the storm. It takes courage, a lot of courage. It takes faith and trust in yourself and compassion towards yourself. Okay, if I screw up, big deal. Who cares? And maybe that's one way to look at it, but I think Spirit has offered a better way to look at it, and that's realizing that imperfections are actually superpowers in many ways. They're magic. Repairing the veil, forgiveness with reconciliations. This is a big message here. And then the last one, horned cactus, one of my favorite cards just because I like the little cactus dude on it. Resourcefulness. So if you feel like, well, Andy, come on now. The time has passed. It has the point of no return. I'm already way past that. All the resources to get this thing going or to be that way or to have that life, I don't have them anymore. I got family, I got debt, I got whatever it is for you. I got a broken heart. How am I going to do this? Spirit is saying, come on now. Don't forget how resourceful you are. That you can exist in many different environments and still rely on yourself, still stand strong. And that this cactus has access to a reservoir of water beneath the surface that others can't see. And just because others might not see your potential, or maybe they're hard on you, expecting perfection, it doesn't mean that you don't have potential and that you should be hard on yourself, because you have access to so many resources here. And some of you, I'm getting this message now, some of you have been holding yourself back from something that you've wanted to achieve or wanted to do because you're holding a grudge with someone or something. You know, like maybe it's a workplace situation and you're like, I'm giving up on that whole career because that happened and those people are parasitic, whatever. But that grudge isn't serving you. And Pixel wants to come in. We'll do it momentarily and then we'll get back to the message. You can skip ahead if for some reason you don't like cats. Okay. Well, here, I'm sure they all want to see Pixel. Here she is. Say hi, everyone. Okay. I'll feed you soon, girl. Someone's going to say, don't feed her. She's huge. Okay. She's really not. I mean, she's a little bit on the... I mean, she's 14. What do you want? Okay. Perfectionism, right? Perfect for who? Okay. Let's get back to the message. No, she's in good health, guys. Okay. Let's see the energies supporting you versus the energies challenging you. Step out for the energy supporting you. Step out of your comfort zone. Maybe your comfort zone is being perfect or keeping yourself away from something. Yeah, that's what we were talking about, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. Screw that. I'm holding my ground. It's on principle. And that can be like a good thing, but there's a little bit of righteousness here for someone, not all of you. There's many different storylines that this energy can apply to. But the main thing is, it's not too late. Don't be scared of imperfections. They're actually magical bursts of breakthrough energy that break through dogma, expectation, and imposed cruelty. Like, that's pretty big. And step out of your comfort zone. There's an opportunity to reconcile. Sanctuary is the challenge. Yeah, because this is the comfort zone. Something feels like a sanctuary. Something feels like you're safe and you're protected and you're in the womb and nothing can get you or hurt you. And while that's great that you've built that feeling for yourself or that space for yourself, you have to grow. You have to birth yourself out of that womb. You have to step out. What's holding you back? And I feel like some of you, the reconciliation is with that aspect of you that was a little bit more fearless, daring, took risks. Trusted in their resourcefulness. Okay? So the only thing holding you back right now, should I say that? Well, it's no fault of your own, really. It's not. The way you are because you've gone through the things you've gone through. That's just fine. That's just fine. But if it's not working for you anymore, if it's not serving you, then you have the opportunity to change. Some of you need to speak. You need to say something, or you need to get out there, express yourself in some way. Reconcile with your throat chakra. Okay? You need to speak the truth and repair that veil with yourself. Forgive yourself for staying quiet or not speaking or whatever this is. Not allowing yourself to take a risk. It's okay. But the time is here for you to release yourself from some imposed cruelty. So let's see. I'm hearing navel. Something about a navel. The devil. Okay. What's that phrase? Navel gazing. Oh, I saw something today and it's coming through. This is a message. I don't want to screw it up. How did it go? Something like, I'm not going to get it right. Something like, you're not selfish. You're just harder to manipulate. And with the devil coming out, I feel like that is a message. Okay, some of you might feel like you're being selfish in some way, but you're taking care of yourself. You're not able to be manipulated, or you're harder to manipulate. Think about who calls you selfish, or who has in the past, and the context of that suggestion that you were. Was it because you were resisting manipulation that idea was proposed to you? Because what you were doing wasn't serving someone else's interests? That's for someone. Just as I'm talking about that, the card Seven of Swords comes out, and on it says uselessness. Yeah, judgment. For some of you, reflecting on those moments in your life that were difficult and hard and things were said to you feels like a useless endeavor. I'm not my past. I don't need to think about that. That's done and over with. Yeah, but also no. Both and, yeah, true. But there's so much more for you to see, especially if you find yourself getting stuck or blocked from time to time and you don't know why. Then, if you think about those times where someone's maybe called you useless or selfish or whatever poison arrows were thrown towards you in your direction, you'll begin to see that it wasn't whoever said those things, it was about themselves and not you. And because you are, whoever I'm connecting with today, because you are such a thoughtful, self-reflective person, empathetic person, you took those suggestions to heart and asked yourself, am I being selfish? Is it too late? Is this useless? Am I whatever, fill in the blank? And asking yourself those questions was a part of your rebirth. It's a part of your ascension. It's a part of your spiritual growth, emotional intelligence. And it was good that you asked those questions because maybe you got some answers. But you also need to remember the context with the transpersonals card of where the watchers, right? Of where that all came from. How did that thought get implanted into your brain? By who and under what circumstance? What was the context? Because you are keeping yourself safe here. Remember, I talked about being in the womb. And you have to step out now and take a risk. And when those insults or whatever, projections come flying your way, you'll be able to deal with it. In fact, they will elevate you because they offer points of reflection that you can either take or leave. Someone leaves me a bullshitty comment on the channel. Most of the time, whatever, I just don't, I don't engage with it. But sometimes it does get to me. And I have to sit there and think, why is this getting to me? I don't know this person. Why is this bothering me? Oh, it's because of this and that thing that happened and that's triggering that. And it gives me a moment of reflection and awareness that I'm not in that situation anymore. I don't have to engage with this, or I could if I want. But all the actions I take are conscious actions. They're not shadow reactions that end up, doing me no favors. And Spirit's saying you can do that too. And so don't be scared of any kind of criticism or rejection. Okay? Don't be scared of that. Take it as an opportunity to reflect on yourself and do a little bit of like, it's a mini growth, right? Like a comment comes in, it bothers me. It's like 5-minute mini, like a mini boost of growth, right? Like, oh yeah, I can reflect on this in a way that's useful. Or you can just totally disregard it consciously, you know? So some of you, you have an opportunity here to reconcile with that inner power, that inner strength, and the courage to step out and forgive those people too. I mean, they know not what they do because what they do is a projection most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Okay? So your overall energy, the devil. Seeing a serpent on this card with the goat. The tongue is red, and it's just reminding me, I posted today on the community tab a picture of Pixel, and there was the cord on the treadmill was hanging down, and a lot of you said like, oh, there's the red thread, and I didn't even realize that when I posted the picture, and then I was thinking about it. There is the red thread, which is a theme that comes up a lot on this channel if you're new here. This idea of a red thread, and we've been kind of working with that symbol in different ways. But in that context, on the treadmill, what that red thread does is you're supposed to clip it onto you, and then if you go flying off the rails or the treadmill goes wonky and starts going super fast, you can pull it. It's a safety release mechanism. And that just opened a whole downloaded door for me. Downloaded door, interesting. That there is a thread that you have access to that is a safety release when things start to go off the rails. Okay? And it's important that you know you have access to that so that you do feel protected as you sprint forward. The devil. A lot of you are focused right now on the mundane material world, which is fine. What do I need to say about that? We have the Prince of Swords, the Knight of Swords with Osiris. Well, the Knight of Swords and the Devil coming out together is a lot of mental noise, reactivity. This could be your own or things that you're dealing with from others. It could also be this idea of I need to be perfect when I speak, but every time I do, it's like it's not right, where I'm just, it just comes out and not the way I wanted it to. What do you want to say about that? King of Cups. Hold on. Transparency. It is important to think before you speak and to choose your words wisely and carefully. That said, that doesn't mean censoring yourself or silencing yourself when you really do want to communicate. Okay, so Spirit's saying there is a way to be transparent, authentic, communicative, to voice what you need and what you want and what you're thinking and your knowledge. There is a way to do that transparently while also doing it thoughtfully. Okay, so what you don't see coming is the Queen of Cups. Let's find out more about her. Queen of Cups. Queen of Swords. Let's get one more. And the Page of Swords, Isis. Speak from the heart. Success at the bottom. 10 of Cups. Speak from the heart. Even if this is related to like a work project or something like that, it's important that, and it's all serious businessy, okay? You wear a blazer and that kind of stuff. Still try to speak from the heart, because that's when you're really heard. That's how people connect. Through story, through narrative, through heart space, like communication. That's, even if you're trying to land a deal, defend a case, like whatever you're doing, when you put in like the humanity, the heart level communicative style into that, you're heard, you're felt, is what happens, is you're actually felt. Queen of Cups. Some of you are going to see how powerful your speech, your words, your communication really is, and then it hits the hearts of others. It impacts them emotionally, and that's a huge responsibility, okay? It is. Because when you have that capability and that power to do something like that, you also have that same power in the shadow. So your words likely could also cut and really hurt if you wanted to use it in the shadow. So it's important, Queen of Swords, to be mindful, Page of Swords, of how your words are coming through, what's the energy and emotion between them, I was about to say, between them, in the silences and the places you don't speak. What kind of energy is going out there, because you're so powerful with it. And sometimes you might need to call on that shadow to cut. Okay, it's not like that's a bad thing that you should never do. But again, you should do it consciously rather than it suddenly coming out of nowhere, Knight of Swords, like, oh God, I can't believe I said that. So what you don't see coming is like some kind of awareness that when you speak from your heart, or communicate or create or think even from your heart, it's extremely powerful and it gets the job done. It does what you want it to do. Speak to whoever as if you're speaking to yourself, because you are really. You know that whole saying, treat others how you want to be treated? It sounds like so whatever, you know, like, okay. But it's actually an alchemical, occulted kind of knowledge, or an alchemical process. When you treat someone or engage with someone as you want to be engaged with, because it's energy, it's karma, it's alchemy. You're creating a better relationship with yourself in those moments. Okay. Yeah. Your opportunity, the High Priestess. It's a beautiful High Priestess card. What does it have here? Is that a camel? It looks like a camel. Your resources, your water that you hold that others can't see. Your water, Queen of Cups, your emotional power, the power of your emotions, right? Is probably, you know, when you're powerful and you can affect other people emotionally, energetically, you're also probably affected in that way too. The High Priestess. Your gateway, I'm hearing, your gateway to the veiled realms, the unknown realms, it's through the heart. It's through your emotions. Don't be scared, okay? If you get scared, and this feels like in a spiritual context, or maybe like a paranormal situation, if you get scared, do the whole Watchers thing. Oh, that's interesting. This little thing that's weird happened. Why am I scared of that? What does that remind me of? Try to go outside of it a little bit, because something is going to happen. I said this last time in the last reading. You're going to have an experience that feels maybe a little spooky or odd or paranormal or like, whoa, what's going on? And it's important that you don't interpret it through the frequency of fear. Oh, this is complicated. Because then treat others as you want to be treated. It's like you're treating that experience or that entity or that guide or whatever comes through for you like you're scared of them. And then it's going to be scared of you. You know, that whole thing, right? So try to like be as neutral as possible. That's for some of you. I think it's for all of you. This could even be, maybe you're not going to have a paranormal experience, but you're going to be like, whoa, I think I'm a psychic. I think I'm actually intuitive. We all are. We all are. Okay. It's just a matter of believing in it. And following it, continuing to work with the energy and seeing what you can do. So some of you are going to have a download, or you're going to do some tarot or some things. You're going to be like thinking of someone, then they call, all that stuff that happens. And you're really going to be like, whoa, did I do that? Did that just happen? And the answer is yes. It did. Okay, so your opportunity is to get more in touch with your intuitive capabilities through your emotions. Like how you feel about something is where your intuition is coming from and how it will grow. I hope that makes sense. Now the challenge here is the Queen of Stones, which is the Queen of Pentacles. See this maze that she's kind of in? How do I get out of here? There's also like a little dude here, a little guy about to fall into this maze. So the challenge is that feeling of being in the womb, planting yourself like that, it's not even grounding. It's like I'm glued to this thought form. I'm glued to this perspective. I'm glued to this situation and I'm not budging. I'm not going anywhere. I'm safe here. This is my sanctuary. Piss off. Okay, that's your challenge. Flexibility is going to be important. Nuance and flexibility are important for you to engage with and work with, because there's an opportunity for reconciliation. And remember, again, it could be with yourself or someone else, whatever you feel intuitively called towards. The courage to step into life, the perfect storm. Well, you know who doesn't want the perfect storm? The Queen of Pentacles. She doesn't want a storm. So you're going to have to face that part of yourself, the spider woman, regardless of your gender, the spider woman part of you that's spent so long weaving this beautiful web and it's catching all the spiders and it's doing its thing. Why would I go anywhere and weave a different web? But what you don't see is that the weather's changing, or maybe somebody's coming and bust your web down, and it's better that you jump ship now, or that you steer the boat in a new direction, that you go weave a web somewhere else. Okay, let's, the advice, uselessness, Seven of Swords. The idea that you're useless is a lie, and I think most of you already know that. And I'm seeing these like spirits here in this card. These look like different spirits. Manifestations of other people's thoughts or your own thoughts. They're agitating. They're hungry to feed on your energy or your thoughts. Don't let them in. Or if you're going to let them in, give them a time. You can come in and I'll give you some tea, but you got to leave in 10 minutes. I got other things to do. So be mindful of those energies that want to get in, okay? Like burrow in. I'm seeing something burrow into someone's brain here, okay? Like turn it off. Call them back the next day. Let it go to voicemail. The intrusive thought, journal it down, close the book, say, okay, I'll come back to that later. There's something here that needs to be shut out for sure. For some of you, I'm hearing you're wasting time. And sometimes I like to say, no, that's not, you're never wasting time, but that's what I'm getting. Success, 6 of stones, and failure, 7 of stones. Yeah, it's like you're wasting time on something. It's a lie, or like there's something wanting to waste your time. Something that's saying there's some success if you continue to engage with this, or you continue to feed into these spirits, these thought forms, right? There's failure there. Okay? So be mindful of that. Be conscious of that. What's going to manifest in the next 3 months? Alchemy. A temperance card. Yeah, that's what I said. You're doing some alchemy. Which means that you're turning something into something else. Some bad situation, some uncomfortable feeling, or maybe it's nothing. You feel like you got nothing to work with. You're turning that nothingness into something. You're turning something that has been bothering you, blocking you. You're combining it, taking that energy, and you're combining it with all your wisdom, all your lessons, all your observations, all your know-how, bringing those things together, and it's alchemizing the energy so that that thing is no longer a block to you anymore, and it actually works in your favor instead. You reconfigure it. For some of you, this is your courage, okay? You're creating courage. That's your gold that you're alchemizing, or you're creating. This is a big message here about, one of the messages is you're so powerful, and you know how to deal with the little grubby energies that exist out there. You know how to deal with it. Don't let them get to you. Don't let them get to you. And don't let your own grubbies get to you either. That idea that it's too late, I can't do this, or I can't reconcile something. You can. And you don't need to be perfect either. Hallelujah. And not only do you not need to be perfect, you shouldn't be. Okay? So that's what I have. I hope that helped. I think the next reading I'm going to do is going to be a sign reading, but I still felt called to continue on with the collective today. So I'll see you then. I love you so much. See you next time.